Hey guys, welcome to GameFans Podcast number 16. Is it 16 already? That's crazy.
Yes.
We've got a little bit of news for you today, and then we're going to go through some of the stuff that we've been playing. One of the big things that happened for Nintendo was former President Nintendo.
I hate to call shenanigans here. We need you to introduce us to. Take it from the top. Do it over.
Of course.
Over.
We're out of time, guys. That was a fun podcast. We'll see you later.
With me today, I've got Mark Hearn and Nick Cosmedes, as always. We're going to go through the quick rundown of news right quick. Former Nintendo President Hiroshi Yamauchi has passed away, which is really sad news. Microsoft has said that you shouldn't stand up your Xbox One, and Deep Down from Capcom is free to play, and that's just a taste of what's coming. Why don't you say hi, guys?
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Oh, always the jokers.
I'm Batman.
3, 2, 1, boom! It's in.
I'm Batman.
Hey, you know what you should put there on the 3, 2, 1 countdown that you normally have? You should have the McLovin. It's in. That would be awesome.
Oh.
This is definitely a raunchier podcast, I can tell.
Yeah.
So, here's something that I found interesting, and this just happened today, but Sega has said that their Sonic games perform better on Nintendo platforms.
That I'm calling shenanigans. You know, anything performs better when you only put it on that one console.
I'm kind of questioning that myself, because from what I understand, Sonic Generations was a really well-performing title, and it was on 360 and PS3 as well. And I think it sold like 3 to 5 million between those. I don't know how many it sold on Wii, because it wasn't released on Wii.
Is this like a blanket statement? Are they just trying to attack the other consoles? I mean, are they going back to like PS2 and GameCube era?
It's not necessarily them trying to attack other gaming consoles. It's just their Sonic brand manager said they went back through releases and saw that games that were released on Nintendo consoles seemed to perform better. And he was talking about Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic Colors specifically, which neither of those were released on the other consoles.
No, I just get...
You can't necessarily perform better if they're not released on the other consoles.
Sega's just trying to secure a sale of a Sonic buyout if they fall into financial woes. Like, hey, Nintendo, want to buy Sonic?
They've already partnered up buddy with Nintendo. There's going to be 3 exclusive
I'm
Sonic
kidding
titles.
Too, by the way, Sega's...
And we know 2 of them, so...
Well, Sonic and the Secret Rings got a 69 out of 100 on Metacritic. So.
I will be the first to say that Sonic and the Secret Rings was a terrible game. I did not like it, and I was sad that I purchased it.
Yeah, well, my favorite Sonic games are the non-Sonic games, which, like, not platforming. I actually really like the racing games that they've had, both of them. The first one a little bit more than the second.
The Sonic game that I've had the most fun with in recent memory has been Sonic Heroes, and I think that was like a GameCube title.
Yeah.
Sonic and Knuckles or bust.
I want to play Sonic Generations. That looks interesting. Well,
yeah, it does. Sonic Generations is interesting, but the new one is Sonic Lost World.
Yeah.
And I'm actually interested in that one. It looks cool.
You played it at E3, right?
Yeah, I played a little bit. I didn't play much, though.
I played it a little bit. It pretty much feels... It's like Sonic in a Mario world, is kind of what I got.
Yeah, it felt a lot like Mario Galaxy with Sonic in it.
Which is kind of cool.
It is.
And I think when we were at E3, I kind of got an eyebrow hint from the Sega guy that they might have, like, you know, some secrets. There's definitely some secrets that they're keeping from us. And I asked him, like, are there going to be, you know, unlockable characters? And he's like, I can't really talk about that. I said, well, am I going to be able to play as Mario or Luigi? And he hesitated before repeating that last line.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see when that comes out. It was slated to come out October 22nd, but they just delayed it by a week. So that doesn't hint at development problems. It's more logistics of getting it places.
Yeah,
so
store shelves.
We'll be seeing it October 29th. Yeah.
Cool.
The Wii U extended battery pack that everyone has been asking for. Everyone I talk to that owns a Wii U is like, man, the battery in my Wii U Gamepad is terrible. When is there going to be a bigger battery pack? The answer is October 4th, but only for Europe. We don't know when it's coming to North America. That's the problem with Nintendo. They do these rollouts and they're all region specific. So you have things coming out in Europe that don't come out in North America. Things coming out in North America that don't make it to Europe. It's just, why can't you treat the whole world the same?
Well, why can't batteries just last longer? All right, Mark's got his brand new MacBook Air with like 100,000 hours of battery life. Apple
has will
yeah, I mean, if they can solve the problem.
With a camera that doesn't work thanks to an update, thank you very much, Apple. Okay, I'm done with that. But
if they can get the battery fixed for, a device that's been, notorious for consuming batteries, and I'm talking about laptops, why can't a brand new Wii U console have, better functioning batteries for them?
Well, no,
I think
I'm sorry, I just got to say this. It gets really painful when you say that, because it's funny you say that. If you own the Pro controller, that thing lasts for like 10 years without a charge.
Yeah, I have not touched the actual Pro controller in like 2 months, and I went and played Monster Hunter and Rayman Legends with it. And yeah, it was fully charged. If I had done that with my PS3 remote, it would be dead.
Gamepad should have a longer battery. It should.
I think my biggest issue with this announcement of the extended battery pack is that this should have been in the controller to begin with.
Very true.
Because the battery life it got was abysmal. I mean, if I'm playing with the actual gamepad, I'll get probably 3 to 4.5 hours depending on what game I'm playing. But this one is supposed to make it last 5 to 8 hours. Why not just put that? Why that should be in the gamepad by default? This should be what the thing is shipping with.
Well, at the very least, Europe, you guys are lucky. You're going to get some new batteries.
I mean, I assume it's going to come to North America. I hope it does. A lot of people have been asking for it.
Has Nintendo ever released anything in only one territory like that? Like only Europe?
Yes.
All the time.
Oh my god, yes. That's what they're famous for.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's this awesome thing. Hang on. Cora.
That's our guest for the
Here's
day.
this awesome thing that you want.
I'll edit it, okay? Yeah.
Yeah, she did that one, and I did the editing for the last podcast that I did.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Here's this awesome thing that you want, but guess what? It's not coming to the territory that you live in. And guess what? You can't import it because it's region locked. That's Nintendo.
Ouch.
Wow. There you go.
I guess that's my big Nintendo rant.
Yeah.
And of course there was the somber news that former Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi passed away last week. He died of complications with pneumonia. And if you're not aware of Nintendo history, he was president of the company from 1949 all the way to 2002. So he was the man that launched the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the N64, and all the way up through the GameCube. That's crazy.
Wait a minute, 1949, what was Nintendo making? Spinning tops?
Well, back then they were a card company. Or like a paper
they
cards.
made playing cards. They have been a company since the 1800s, actually, like 1890 something.
Back when tinfoil was really made out of tin?
When paper was made out of wood. I don't know what it's made out of now. Or maybe when it was made out of rice. I don't know.
Back when a gallon of gas cost you about a quarter, probably 20 cents,
I don't think they used much gas back then.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that's a lot. 53 years at Nintendo.
No.
It's quite the job security.
But that's
huge. That's a boss right there. We salute you. I'm not trying to be sarcastic either.
He does deserve a salute, because when you look at he basically launched the era of the home console, when the Atari and all that crashed. It came back with Nintendo, and this was the man who did it, so he does deserve a salute.
Yeah, no,
I agree with that.
That's a big loss for the gaming community, but I mean, he lived, wasn't he like 92, I want to say?
I think he was like 83. I don't think he was quite
I could have sworn
old,
they said he was in his 90s, but he lived a long, ripe, age.
He did.
Yeah.
And the thing that really, I was reading about him because I admittedly didn't know much about the man, and he actually, when he retired from Nintendo in 2002, they offered him a $18 million retirement bonus, and he said, no, keep it. The company can do more with it than I can. So when he retired, he didn't take a bonus with him, which is that's really interesting to me, because you hear about American CEOs getting jumped. They're not in the company anymore, and they get these golden parachute benefits, and I don't think you'd see many of them turning those down.
Yeah, he was 85 to be exact too. Yeah, I just looked it up. He was 85, but yeah, that's a classy move all the way. You don't get that a lot with big businesses and big exec types.
Yeah, so a lot of love to Hiroshi Yamauchi and everything that he did for gaming.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Mark, you want to take us into Big Bad Microsoft?
Well, yeah, big and bad. But so there's a few things that happen in the world of Microsoft or in the world of Xbox. Crimson Dragon, I guess we can keep the whole Japanese thing going on here. Crimson Dragon got priced $20. So if that's your type of game,
it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm pleased with that pricing.
Yeah, it's going to be $20. This is a game that people have been sleeping on though a whole lot. A lot of people always talk about Dead Rising, and they talk about Forza, and then the shooters get thrown in like Call of Duty and Battlefield, and there's other games. But a lot of people are overlooking that this is an Xbox One exclusive. It was originally a 360 game, but of course they decided to bump it up to next gen. Looks pretty cool. They had there was a trailer released at Tokyo Game Show, and it showed a little bit more about the game. It's not really my cup of tea, but it has a huge following because it's like a spiritual successor to, what is it, something Dragoon or Crimson Dragoon?
Yeah, I think it was Crimson Dragoon.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things to whereas a lot of people are jazzed up about this game, and it'll probably do well. But hey, for $20, I might even give it a shot. So, in addition to that, just like you said, the initial announcement here, Microsoft warns: do not position your Xbox One vertically when operating it. Duh.
I want to go on the record of saying the last gen, I guess, marketing initiative of standing your console up. I mean, the Wii did it, the Xbox 360 did it, the PS3 Fat did it. I never stood my console up. No, they were all laid horizontally.
And Nick and I are both in California. We're in earthquake country. I don't care if you have a stand or not. It just doesn't seem practical to set it up right.
Wow.
Yeah.
power's going out. It doesn't matter.
The benefit.
If we have an earthquake, power's going out. We're not playing. But
but I mean, say you're in a deep gaming session, and then a nice little tremor hits, and your console's upright, and it flops over.
Yep.
Yep.
You'll be kicking yourself.
All kind of moving parts in there.
Well, to be honest, I have two PS3s, and one of them is normal, and the other one upstairs is upright. So, I mean, it's upright. And I've had it down, and I actually prefer it up. So, I mean, chances are there's a lot of people out there that do have their consoles upright, and this kind of alienates them. I mean, completely. And there's going to be people that are just going to turn it upright anyways.
Well, here's my thing. To all the people who say, oh, the Xbox looks like a VCR or a DVD player, did you ever sit those upright? No. So, there.
So you just basically confirmed that the Xbox One is a VCR.
Nah, honestly, the thing's not bad looking. If you've seen one up close and you've actually interacted with one or touched one, it's not a bad looking console. It's big, it's blocky to a degree, but it's not as big as everyone tries to make it out to be. I've seen one next to a PS3, the fat console, and the fat console, the PS3 was bigger. Everybody freaks out about this thing. It's really not that big. It's big, but it's not the biggest console we've ever seen. So I mean, it is what it is, but don't put it upright. You put it upright, let me give you a disclosure there. They're not saying it won't work. They just recommend that you don't do it.
Well, didn't they say that it wasn't designed to be upright?
Of course not. It's like, hey, you can ride two wheels on your car. Just don't. It's just not a good idea. You know what I mean? You can.
Well, yeah.
Your car's not designed to ride on two wheels, so you probably shouldn't do it.
But if you hit a turn hard enough, you just might get enough momentum to shift up. But yeah, so don't do it. Use common sense. If you sit your console upright, your Xbox One upright, and something in there goes, it's on you.
Well, it'll be more like your disc will get scratched or something because they didn't properly, put whatever calibrating tools in there to make sure the disc spins appropriately in that position. And there are, the console wasn't designed in such a way internally that there would be things in the way that would cause it to scratch if it was angled upright.
What Nick said.
Yeah.
In case you're listening. But so don't sit your Xbox One upright. It's not a good idea. In addition to more Xbox console goodies, you can play PS4 through an Xbox One. Would you like to know how?
I don't care.
Is it Snap-on, Mark? Is that how you do it?
Do you remove the contents of the inside of the Xbox One, leaving only the case, and then you place a PS4 inside the case?
No, this can all be done without a hardware mod. no
I'm pretty sure the
modification
PS4 would fit inside.
So here's the dealio. During Tokyo Game Show, our favorite Microsoft Xbox exec, Albert Pinello, he was giving a presentation talking about the different features in the dashboard. You could snap any app, including live TV, via the HDMI in on the system through HDMI pass-through. You can run a PlayStation 4 if your heart should desire. However, he warned everyone that the gameplay experience might not be the best because there could be some lag and things like that. But of course, the internet took it and ran wild with it and said, "Oh, you can play PlayStation 4." And they promise it's the best experience ever. But no, it can be done. But just like I said about the whole vertical stand and the two-wheel car, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. So, if you're going to get both systems and you just want to play around and try it, you can try it. But it's not the most ideal setup.
Yeah, and he came back on record and said this snippet of, something he said was kind of blown out of proportion by whoever, initially wrote the interview, I think.
Yeah, too bad.
And it wasn't even in the video.
Yeah, too bad other execs don't do that, man. It's like they just let stuff lie. You know what I mean? Like, hey, they took what we said way out of context, but we're just gonna leave it out there.
Sounds about right.
Do its thing. Yeah. So you can do it, but it might not be the best experience. Another news. Any Killer Instinct fans in the house?
I think we all are.
I'm going to go ahead
bit.
and raise my hand.
Yeah. Okay. So there's been a slow burning reveal of Killer Instinct characters since the game got announced.
It's torture. It is absolute torture.
Because everybody wants to know who's going to make the cut. Because we know that the initial release or first season of the game is going to have a limited character build, or character roster. And the latest reveal or latest snippet reveals a classic character is coming back. Anybody remember somebody by the name of Orchid?
Yeah.
Yep, she turns into a jaguar. She's pretty great.
Yeah, she's coming back.
It's my girl.
I'm not excited about that news though because I never played.
And what's
Orchid.
funny is a bunch of people have been gushing, as you say, about this character. You're the first person I've heard say like, whatever.
I don't. She wasn't fun to play. I'm telling you, Spinal is my man, and I keep waiting. They've announced Thunder, Saberwolf, Orchid. I keep waiting for Spinal.
Well, let me ask you this, Ashley. In all fairness, do you have you ever played a fighting game where you like the female character?
I like Chun-Li.
Okay,
she's the strongest woman in the world. Everybody likes Chun-Li.
Right? She's the best.
Tree trunk thighs.
I love Chun-Li.
Yeah, so I mean, I played Orchid. I loved it. I liked using it. I think I always gravitate to the female characters just because I feel like most people won't pick the female character, and that's how it was for me with Chun-Li. Not very many people picked her, but she has like the best moveset, in my opinion. I mean, there's definitely stronger players, some stronger characters, but Orchid was fun. I don't remember her, though. I don't remember. It was all forgettable.
So here's the thing. We've got, I want to say, I think maybe one more character or two more characters to go before the game is actually released because they have a new female character also and that they revealed and she's kind of like a Spider-Woman type thing. She's a new character altogether. Have you guys seen her?
That's cool. No, I haven't looked at it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she's like she's kind of got like the ninja thing going on with the blades that come out of her forearms.
That's dope.
Yeah, she looks awesome. I mean, she's
cool.
She's actually a new character though, and her name is No, her name is Sadira. Yeah, there you go. Her name is Sadira. She's kind of got like a whole arachnid thing going on, and it should be interesting to see how she plays. But I mean, so far we've got Jago, Saberwolf, Glacius, Thunder, Orchid, and this new person. So that's
and Spinal. He's coming.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm not giving up hope. He's coming.
6. Now there's supposed to be 8 characters, so we've got 2 more.
Oh, there's only 2 left.
There's 2 left, people.
This is like waiting for my golden ticket. One of them's going to be Spinal.
I know folks at Double Helix. We can try and make a request, but it's probably too late.
Yes,
probably too late. The game's coming out like in 2 months, but yeah. So
I'm sure.
No, you watch. It's going to be Spinal.
Okay,
yeah, I'm sure the release of these characters is part of the marketing plan.
Oh yeah, they're slowly doing it. So you heard it, folks. Ashley said it's going to be Spinal. Your money back, guaranteed.
I'm going to be so crushed if one of them's not Spinal.
You're getting an Xbox anytime soon. We've already had this conversation.
You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know.
They're going to show some local news station, and there's going to be Ashley camped out like in a teepee waiting for an Xbox to open up, waiting for Best Buy to open up so she can get her Xbox. But okay, so there's a couple more tidbits here. For those of you who are getting an Xbox, this might be big news for you. This might be kind of saddening. If you're getting an Xbox and you're excited about the whole new indie initiative that they've got going on, you got to hold on a little bit longer. Phil Harrison was quoted to saying as the indie games aren't expected to hit until realistically early next year. And it makes sense. I mean, Microsoft announced this new initiative where they're welcoming self-publishing games, and you can't just throw a game together you can, but you know what I mean? Just a quality game, it's going to take a little bit of time. So don't expect a bunch of indie games at launch. I mean, if you were buying an Xbox One, you probably didn't have indies on the brain anyways just yet. So it's one of those things to consider going into buying an Xbox One. You guys have any thoughts on this?
I think it's great that they actually reversed their policy on self-publishing. I think that they should definitely support indie games as well as the Xbox 360 did. And I'm happy to see them reverse that. It's kind of a shame that there won't be any coming until 2014, but I guess that's to be expected because they weren't going to allow self-publishing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, from what I've been reading from like tweets from indie developers, they are on board with the changes and are looking or have been looking very recently into bringing their games not only to PlayStation Network but also to Xbox One. So I think there's kind of a positive, whimsical air, floating around a bit about bringing games to Xbox. Whereas, prior to kind of like, I don't know, a couple months, I guess, prior to all that, prior to the negative the most recent negative 180s and stuff, indies were like, we just don't want to bother at all. And that's unfortunate, of course, but so hopefully that's ultimately going to change. And yeah, Xbox One, you guys are going to have to wait a little bit, but they'll come.
Yeah, and I mean,
Sony, the PS4 will have a jump because there's like just an endless supply of indie games right now. It's ridiculous. Every day there's like 1 to 2 new games announced, or Kickstarter initiatives being started to fund the development of the title so that, they can get it published onto or self-published onto PlayStation. So they got a little catching up to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they'll be fine. I mean, it's one of those things it's one of those things as time comes along, like I think developers, especially when you're independent, you want to get your software on all quality platforms possible. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things to whereas we probably see ports like from games that were already on the PS4 Yeah, I think we will. It's kind of like, if you
fine.
notice.
That's fine because, again, in all fairness, we're seeing ports from PC to PS4. Games that didn't previously come to PlayStation. Minecraft comes to mind. Fez is another one. Those weren't on PlayStation before. And so, I mean, whatever.
One last tidbit, and we're done with Microsoft, or at least sort of.
Forever.
No. The Xbox One can simultaneously run 4 applications, and up to 6 users can be signed in at the same time.
I think this was a bad move. And I know you weren't expecting me to say that, right? I think this is bad move. I don't think they should have said that it runs 4, because it's kind of a small number, and that now you're settled on that number. Now everybody's going to look at that and go 4, okay, and now everybody's going to look at Sony. It's this back and forth thing that we are kind of over. I think all of us can agree that we're over it. But yeah, I don't think they should have said that. I think they just need to not say things like that and just be more mysterious. Just say it can multitask and it works great, or it's phenomenal. Use some of those marketing terms, but I really don't think they should have said 4 apps.
Well, see, the thing is, Microsoft has kind of been under fire about not being clear and blunt on things. So I think they're in a mode where they have to say, you know what, we're going to put everything in black and white. This is what is what it can do. This is how many apps it can handle. This is how many people can sign in at one time. I mean, 4 is put like this.
I was going to say, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because if I play my Xbox 360, I can do exactly one thing.
So 4 is a win. 4 is an upgrade. And also keep in mind, with software updates, their functionality increases. So that 4 can, maybe a year or 2 from now, that 4 can be 6 or 8. Just depends on how things are optimized. But 4 is a darn good starting point, because it's like Ashley was saying, if I play, an Xbox 360 or a PS3 or just about any other home console, you're stuck doing one thing. And if you try and move into something else, it's a strenuous process. It's kind of like, have you ever watched a Blu-ray on your PS3 and then you want to check a message or something? You have to back out of everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a pain in the neck. So I mean, hopefully as game consoles evolve, these guys will look at computing in a different way. They'll look at what people are doing, what smartphone companies are doing. It's like when you're running an app on a smartphone and you go into the multitasking mode, you'll find apps that you launched 2 days ago. Now, that might be taxing on your battery, but the whole point is it's there to go back to. So, I mean, maybe they'll take heed and we'll see stuff like that along the way. Now, as far as 6 people being signed in at one time, that's kind of crazy, but it's just not people sitting on your system logged in. The system can actually tell who's calling the shots. It checks the Connect scans, who's holding a controller, and it recognizes people's voices. So it's one of those things to whereas, say the 3 of us are sitting down and we're about to play, I don't know, we'll say
Killer Instinct.
I'll just say Forza so we can all race at the same time. I don't want anybody sitting out. So we're all playing Forza, and Nick grabs a controller. It's going to scan Nick's face, it's going to log him in, and it's going to set his stuff up the way he likes it. Same thing with me, same thing with Ashley. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's one of those things
that is pretty cool.
Wave your hand too.
Can you wear a Mickey Mouse mask, and then it'll be like, hey, Mickey Mouse logged in, and it'll log me in as Mickey Mouse?
No.
Or like a Mario head, and it's like, hey, President Nintendo just logged in.
It's good. It's gonna. It also recognizes your voice. So for those of you who are freaking out about Big Brother, the Kinect is watching and listening. Be afraid. But that's it for Microsoft. Let's talk about Sony.
You really want to, don't you?
I do.
After all that. Well, I've got some more immediate news that I wanted to point out, because I know Ashley is really into indies, and a new one just came out right now. I just checked on my Vita, and it's out, called Lone Survivor, Director's Cut. It's on Vita. And
that's actually by Jasper Byrne, and he and I have discussed on Twitter a lot about that game.
That's right.
So I'm happy to see that he finally released it on PlayStation Network.
It just came out like an hour ago. And it's the Director's Cut version, so it's supposed to have more content in it, more items and stuff. But it's basically like a pixelated survival horror game.
Survival horror.
Yeah. It looks really good. It's clean. It's dark. It's colorful, but yet still dark. interesting. I'm looking at it.
That game will blow your mind if you've not played it. So definitely, get into it.
So that's out now. It's for Vita and PS3. It's actually on sale. It's supposed to be $12.99. It's on sale for $11.69. What is that, like 2% off for PS Plus subscribers? Another PSN news. Sony just announced spend $50, get $10 promotion. This happened last year too. And so if you every $50 you spend on PSN, you get $10 back. Now, initially you're like, oh, that's cool, but whatever. But there's some people that may have, maybe planning to buy Grand Theft Auto 5, and that's $60. So right there you get $10 back. They also said it works with PlayStation Plus subscription. So if you want to add a year, that's $50. You get $10 back. If you really want to, you can pad the next 10 years with PlayStation Plus subscriptions, and then you can get the maximum they're allowing, which is $100 back. And I also checked with a rep from Sony, and this is confirmed that this also works with all those PS3 to PS4 upgrade titles, so like Assassin's Creed. If you buy the digital version on PS3 for $60, you get $10 back, and then you can turn around and use that $10 to buy the PS4 version for $9.99 because of the whole upgrade promo that runs afterwards, which that comes out closer to, at the PS4's launch for $9.99. So yeah, that's confirmed that those promo credits will work. So basically,
that's a pretty sweet deal.
Basically, you buy the PS3 versions of those games.
You get the PS4 version with it for nothing.
Yeah, for free. I mean, if you save your money and use it, in November, of course. Side note that those promos are limited time only. So be sure to check our post on PS4 Daily to find out what the dates are as to when you have to make those purchases for the PS3 and the PS4 versions. Ashley, you mentioned Deep Down's free to play now. That's pretty cool.
I think that's a really interesting concept. If it's not ruined with in-app purchases, basically kind of like Dark Souls free to play, it should be interesting.
Well, I'm sure it will. I mean, so far what we know is very limited. We know that it's an RPG. We know that you're allowed to play online with at least one other person, as demonstrated at Tokyo Game Show, I believe.
Are you guys feeling this game?
I'm not a big RPG buff, so no. But
I'm not either. I'm not really feeling this game that much. I saw the walkthrough that they did.
Yeah, I asked our readers on PS4 Daily what they wanted, what PS4 game they were most anticipating, and this was up there on the list. It didn't beat out Ubisoft's The Division or Kingdom Hearts, but it got a few votes. So I think it's just people don't know enough about it to get excited. And there's a lot of other RPGs that are well known. More importantly, or I should just say not more importantly, next up is Sony plans to stream PlayStation games using the GaiKai technology to not just the Vita, but to tablets and phones and PCs and more. They actually even mentioned Sony Blu-ray players. That's ridiculous to me. Playing like a PlayStation game, PlayStation 2, or anything from the cloud using a Blu-ray remote? How would that work?
There's going to be some kind of controller, dongle, or something that you're going to have to get. It's kind of like, you remember back in the day when On Live, you guys remember that service, On Live? You remember?
Yeah, it's still around. It's just
a shell of its former self. But you guys remember when they announced that they were going to be integrating that into Google TV?
Yeah.
And a lot of TVs were having that built in. Like I know Sony had a Google TV display. They also had a Blu-ray player that had it. LG had Google TV integrated into its TVs. And, of course, there were set-top boxes as well. So it was kind of like how Nick said, they never really made a clean transition. There's got to be some type of controller add-on or dongle or something like that. There's going to be some kind of specifications.
I mean, and it's supposed to – they're saying that they would like – the plan is they would like to be able to stream these things. They know the technology can do it. I'm sure they've done some test runs before they came out and said this kind of thing. PCs is kind of a no-brainer because, if you got a PS4, again, second screen type of thing, or the Wii U type of thing where you want to push your game to another screen, be it a Vita or a Vita TV, another device they confirmed will play PS4. PC's a decent option. And, that'd be interesting if they allowed you to do keyboard and mouse controls by way of some sort of app on the PC. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned Vita TV. This is one thing that I was kind of bummed about. They announced that so far it's not coming to North America.
Yeah, they haven't said anything about North America. So, basically, what Shuayu should have said was that it was a device destined for Japan. It was supposed to only come to Japan. And the reason for that is because it's a TV thing. It's not necessarily only a Vita thing, but it's also TV. So it has a lot of special TV apps that are like proprietary to Japan, I should say, their networks and whatnot. And they hadn't planned on bringing it anywhere else. And to bring it somewhere else would mean that they want to include TV content for the Vita or for North America. And we have different networks here. Not just talking about like Netflix and Hulu, but other types of things. Like think like the NFL season ticket. Like think along those lines. Whereas that's something that's really only for North America. And I think that's what they want to bring, and whatever else. They just want to set it up to be that kind of like another option instead of, I don't know, a Roku or I'm not even thinking Ouya at this point because of the TV aspect of it, but they want it to be kind of an all-in-one entertainment console as well as having like, thousands of Vita games, PS1 games to play out of the box.
There are going to be a lot of angry fans who are waiting for that thing to come here because I thought about it for a while. I said, you know what? This would be a cool idea, especially if they get the whole, multimedia apps going on, like how you were just kind of referencing different things. If they can work that, you can print money with that thing. So hopefully it'll come to North America.
I was $100.
Yeah. I was apprehensive at first, but I really thought about it and said, you know what? If they can really, really make this thing a competitor with like Apple TV, Roku, and Google TV and all those kind of things, and they get the HBO Go's, the Netflix, the Hulu's, and then they get exclusive programming or just like I said, Sony owns so many studios. Say, hey, here's a Sony channel. It's nothing but Sony content. You know what I mean? You pay a little monthly fee.
They already got their video, apps like all over my smart TV. Sony Video Unlimited.
Yeah, it's
Sony,
called Crackle.
Well, they have Crackle too, but they also have the Sony Entertainment Network Store, SEN, and you can go there and purchase or rent movies and TV, same as you can, with like Vudu, for example, which is the Walmart version.
Yeah. So I mean, if they bring that thing here and to the good old US of A, and they're able to do that,
I'd buy it.
They're going to make a lot of money.
You got my $100, Sony. If you bring it,
you most likely got mine too. Then you toss in the bonus that hey, you could stream games and things like that and do other stuff just for the media stuff alone. It's worth considering. But if it the whole game streaming and the possibility to play PS4 games remotely on the TV without the system,
I would rather spend $100 on Vita TV than I would on an Ouya. So
Absolutely.
I think that's three Vita TVs.
I'd rather spend
that Sony could
I'd
sell.
rather spend $150 on Vita TV than $100 on an Ouya. So
that's more accurate because you will have to have a memory stick. I think the base model in Japan only comes with a 1 gig memory stick. So that's a gig to store games. That's not very much. Uncharted alone on Vita it's like 4 gigs.
Yeah.
Killzone, which we'll talk about hopefully if we have time here, is 4 gigs. With that update, it's over 4 gigs. Yep. So anyways, I want to move on. I've got one more thing to talk about, which is kind of we're spinning in our wheels in this direction. Sony announced the official PlayStation app coming to mobile devices. This will release sometime before the PS4 launches, and it's so that when you get your PS4 and you bring it home, you can start. Well, hopefully, if you get your camera too, you can start playing with apps like the Playroom on your PS4 and using the PlayStation app on your phone, either iOS or Android or tablets, and like create little things and throw them into the Playroom and play like a lot of different mini games using that. And it's something that Sony said that developers, any third-party developers, first-party developers will probably be using it, but they can use this app instead of creating a separate, like their own app on whatever device. And they could use this app to do second screen stuff with their game. So I mean, the sky's the limit, really. We could rant off a million ideas, but I'm sure developers are going to come up with their own unique ways to use it. So that's kind of neat.
So basically, a smart glass.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see this come because, like, I'd love to be able to check out my trophies and stuff like that. And there's also the socializing, since the PS4 is going to have a lot of social integration, as we saw in the videos from TGS and stuff. Shuhei Yoshida, hands-on with the device. Various other people playing the thing, and it's like socializing and sharing clips, and then jumping right into game and doing Twitch streaming, like all that stuff. All the socialization can actually all be done from the app as well, and watching streams of people's games from their PS4, purchasing games. So yeah, I'm sure it's just like the Xbox version as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all the Sony news I wanted to talk about today.
So moving on to things that we've been playing. How about you, Mark? What have you been playing?
Okay, so little game called Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and I've been playing that like a lot of other people.
Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't think I've ever heard of that. No, I'm kidding. I do eventually intend to pick this up. It's not been high on my priority list because I've just been kind of bleh about the recent Grand Theft Auto releases. But how have you been enjoying it?
Here's the thing. I'm gonna skip to it. Well, I'm gonna skip over it, and then I'll get back to it. I've also played Killzone Mercenaries. Well, Mercenary, not Mercenaries. And
that's something that Nick spent a lot of time with last week.
It's a good game. It's a good game. It's one of those things where it's a real first-person shooter.
I swear, I feel like we've been talking about it for like 3 weeks on end now. Like, oh, Killzone Mercenary. And I'm like, oh, Killzone Mercenary.
You should buy it. You should buy it.
It seems that you guys have really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
it's cool.
I might.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I still haven't finished it yet because that game that I just mentioned came out. But it's fun. It's one of those things to where it's a legit first-person shooter. The graphics are nice, especially considering that they're on a handheld. And it's a fun game. The multiplayer's legit. Everything's cool about it. So if you own a Vita, and this is coming from a guy who just ranted about the Vita not having standalone games like that aren't ports or that aren't watered down ports, this is a game you might want to get if you like shooters. But as far as Grand Theft Auto goes, I'm talking with both hands now. Like both hands are up, and I'm waving them back and forth as I'm talking right now. This game is awesome.
So, who's your favorite character?
You know what? It's hard.
You don't have one?
They all have their own. They all bring their own attributes to the table. But it's one of those things to where it's like this. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a personal GTA story. Because as you guys know, the game's rated M. And when I say rated M, it's very, very rated M. So I'm playing the game, and as you know, actually, I have a 1-year-old. So my wife comes in with my daughter, and she strolls by, and she's putting the kid down and, like, getting her ready for, I want to say bed. Yeah, it was bed or a nap. And then she sits down, and she hears all of 12 seconds of dialogue in this game. And she says, "What the hell are you playing? If I catch you playing that around our daughter," you're like, "What are you playing?" And so it's all of 12 seconds. So I have to sneak the game in. I'm not even that far into the game. I just play when I can. But what I've played of the game, it's awesome. I mean, there's some technical aspects that people have complained about, but you have to understand the game is enormous, and there's just so much you can do. I mean, there's just so much that you can do. It's one of those things to whereas it's a throwback to the Grand Theft Auto that everyone fell in love with. So you said you didn't like the last couple of GTAs, so you didn't care for...
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that it's a throwback because I really enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City. And then I kind of felt iffy about San Andreas and 4. So if 5 is a little bit of a throwback, I think I might enjoy it more than I did the previous
It's
two.
funny to hear you say you didn't like San Andreas because San Andreas is held to a really high standard.
The whole gang wars thing, just I didn't care enough to do that. The whole territory and all that. And that's one of the things that turned me off of Saints Row when I played it because it tried to mimic that gang wars, and I could not make myself care.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, overall, considering, the hardware that it's running on older hardware, it's built for older hardware, the game runs fairly well, and it's just a blast to play. I mean, it's one of those things to whereas it's one of those games where you'll be playing it and, you'll realize an hour's gone by. Okay. Then you realize another hour's gone by. You're like, wow, I need to do this or I need to do that. But then more time goes by. So it's really good. So, I mean, it's living up to the hype for me so far. I haven't beat it. I know a guy who ran through the game, like, since he got it on launch day, and him and his brother have both beat it.
Jesus, that's like super
That's like
speedy.
Unhealthy.
That's like you don't do any side quests. You just play the main story.
And you know what? Knowing these guys, they probably did a few side quests too. They're just literally probably hunkered down and said, hey, we're not going to shower. We're not going to do anything. Yeah. We're going to play this game for 5 hours at a time, and there you go. But yeah. So
their sustenance was fake food in the game.
Basically. So yeah, that's what I've been
characters.
playing.
Right on.
So, Nick, how about you? What have you been playing?
So I'm kind of done with Killzone Mercenary. I have ranked up as high as I want to rank up. I've been jumping online on occasion. Single player, I'm done with it. But I will go back on occasion. I'm pretty much done with it. I've been, because of the whole GTA 5 thing, I really want to play GTA 5, but I haven't bought it yet. So recently I downloaded Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the Vita. It was originally a PSP game because Sony made it free. And I know you don't call it free, Mark, but it's free. I didn't have to go and pay for it, even though I got a physical UMD copy upstairs. And I've been playing that on my Vita, kind of reminding me of, the good old days of GTA 3. It's a good game. I like it a lot. And it doesn't pull any punches. It's got cursing in it and stuff. And for being like old PSP game, it's kind of shocking that the PSP actually had some really good, mature titles on it. But another one that I'm kind of going back on that I haven't really touched too much is Assassin's Creed Liberation, also on the Vita. And if you guys have been following much in the world of Sony, but Ubisoft is now working on a PS3 port of the game. I don't remember if it's just PS3 or if it's maybe also Xbox 360. But they're like up-resing all the graphics, adding more polys, and sort of changing things up a little bit based on like feedback from gamers on forums.
I think that's an interesting move for Ubisoft, simply because Assassin's Creed Liberation was the first time that we've seen a female assassin.
Yeah.
And that they're bringing it to the main consoles. I think it'll be exposed to a lot more people.
Yeah, and it's a fun game. I mean, she actually has outfits, which is different too. Normally, Assassin's Creed is just your whoever, and you go and kill people, and that's it. There's no, other way around it. But she actually can change outfits. You go and you buy these places throughout the map where you can go and change your outfit in there. And she can go as her regular assassin's garb, but when she does, the guards are alerted and they'll actually chase after her and stuff. But she can do all of the things that you can typically do in all the Assassin's Creed games. Whereas when you dress up like as the pretty girl, I forget what they call it in the game, but she wears like a fancy dress and she has a little fan and a hat, and she's very pretty and proper. You can get into like swanky parties in that outfit. But you cannot, I don't think you can climb. Your attacking abilities are lessened exponentially.
I'd like to see someone try to climb in a dress from the 1700s.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that you cannot do when you're wearing that outfit. But then, like I said, you have access to swanky parties where otherwise you wouldn't have access. And then there's the like slave outfit. I don't remember if they actually call it a slave outfit, but it's kind of like the classic worker's outfit. But basically she's all in rags, and again, you have access to restricted areas where there is a lot of other slaves, and you can carry boxes and stuff and pretend like you're working, but then go and stealth kill guys. And then
it sounds like they took a few of the elements from the Hitman series, where he can get in different outfits and things that give him access to areas where he normally wouldn't be able to go.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I played the new Hitman too, and that's kind of the first time I was exposed to that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that on PS3 just to see what changes they might make. So I went back and trying to finish it up on Vita. I never really did beat it, so that's what I'm playing.
So I recently got a new phone, and of being the person that I am, I've played with it nonstop. So I actually haven't done any console or PC gaming, but two games that I got that I wanted to give a shout out to. were Rymdkapsel and Deepest Dungeons of Doom. They're both Android games. Rymdkapsel's also on iOS if you happen to have an iPhone.
It's also on Vita and PlayStation Mobile.
Yeah, it has PlayStation Mobile. Rymdkapsel is like a mix between a strategy game with Tetris elements because you have to fit things together in the classic Tetris shapes as you're building your base. And I've gotten addicted to it. It's like you're trying to build the best base that you can before the enemy waves wipe you out. And it's really great, and I've enjoyed it. And Deepest Dungeon of Doom is kind of roguelike, kind of not. It's something that I've spent a little bit of time with and really enjoyed it. And I wanted to give a shout out to those two games simply because of how much fun I've had with them. Like, I've never expected to have as much fun with a mobile game as I did with these two. And I think they deserve some recognition.
That's awesome.
So, Ashley, what phone did you get?
Yeah, what'd you get?
I got an LG G2, which is supposed to be the Nexus 5 daddy.
How's that button on the back? Or those buttons?
I love it. People complain about the buttons on the back, but honestly, when I hold my phone, I put my finger there anyway, so it's natural.
That's the idea.
I mean, it's not... People are like, oh, I would not like that, having the buttons on the back. Like, the first day I got it, I never looked for the buttons on the side, simply because I hated having to stretch my thumb to hit the power button.
Yeah, or like turn your phone on its side to hit the power button on the top, maybe.
That's engineering.
I really don't like...
I mean, I don't... With the G2, I don't even use the power button. Like, it's sitting on my desk right now. I just reach over and double tap, and the screen comes on. I can see all my notifications, everything.
Oh, yeah, because it has the other kind of floating stuff. Forget what they call it.
Yep. It has knock-on. That's what they call it.
Knock-on. Okay. That's genius. So how's Rymdkapsel look on the LG G2 screen?
It is fantastic. Very great.
That's cool.
I'm actually kind of hoping that the developers will be, this game could actually work well on Vita, because, Vita has touchscreen, so if Rymdkapsel came to Vita, I would buy it again. That's how good it is.
You mean like a Vita game, not a PlayStation Mobile game?
Right, as a Vita game.
Okay. Because it is on Vita, but PlayStation Mobile, not... I mean, really the only difference is trophies, and, so there's some little techniques, little things like the cameras and stuff they can take advantage of, but I think the Rymdkapsel PlayStation Mobile version is identical to the Android and iOS version. So it is there if you want to get it.
Yeah, I think it is too. I don't think there's any differences.
Everybody I've spoken to who's played it on Vita says it's amazing. Likewise for mobile. Good stuff.
So how about those movies and things that you've been watching? You guys always have a handful of movies that you've been watching. I personally don't watch that many things.
I just watched the new Star Trek.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I liked it. I'm not a Trekkie, but I liked the movie. And, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is, I think, an amazing actor. I watched him on a couple other BBC shows before, and he's always performed amazingly well. He's slick, and he can play different roles. And I'm into the BBC scene, though, so I watched it partly for that. What about you?
Cool.
What about you, Mark?
Okay, so my TV list was bittersweet today. This past few days, I watched the series finale of my favorite show, Dexter. Came to an end.
Mark, I haven't seen this, but I've kept up with Dexter. Were you pleased with the direction it went? No spoilers.
Not at all. I was not.
Okay.
And
so moving on.
So how far along are you into Dexter? Just curious.
I think I've got like 5 more episodes.
Okay, so you're on the current season though.
I'm on the current season. I just haven't kept up with it.
But you know what the show used to be and what it's become. So.
Oh, season 4 was the highlight for me with John.
Yeah, that's everybody. Yeah, everybody loved that. So I mean, it wasn't terrible, but we'll talk about it outside of this. So we'll keep it spoiler free. But so I wept like a baby when that show ended. And speaking of ending, I watched Breaking Bad. That's got one more episode.
Now I did watch that. I watched Breaking Bad.
That's got one more episode left. It's like, geez, TV, you're killing me right now. The show's amazing. And
I something actually happened in the last Breaking Bad episode. I had to pause and take like a 20-minute breather. I was like, I can't. Whoa, hang on.
Which part? Which part?
I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it. I don't like doing spoilers. Here's my thing. It's
a TV show. It's not a movie that you have to pay admission to.
It is a TV show, but people... No, if I was listening to a podcast and someone instantly said a spoiler, I would be like, whoa, what the hell? What's wrong with you? So I don't want to spoil anything.
It's a TV show that aired 2 nights ago.
People still care.
2 nights ago is nothing. No. I'm not going to spoil things.
Well, it was good. I'll say that.
It was good, but I had to take a break.
Okay. Boardwalk Empire, another show that I love. It's an awesome show if you're into the whole, prohibition, mob scene, that type of thing. Awesome show. Sleepy Hollow, brand new show.
I saw this. I forgot to mention this. I saw this too. It was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? It was pretty darn good because I was wondering, like, geez, how are you guys going to really make this, how, with the material? You're looking at the source material when the previews and trailers are building it up. You're like, how are you guys going to work this to where it makes sense and where it's actually kind of, where you can actually watch it? And they did a decent job with that. I mean, put it like this. Second episode aired last night. I watched it. And, so
I haven't
far,
seen it yet.
Yeah, so far so good. I'll just say that since Ashley would shoot me if I spoiled things. But,
Why would you spoil things? It's such a horrible thing to do. I yelled at you when you spoiled Red Dead Redemption on the other last, episode 3.
The game's like 3 years old. If you haven't beaten it by now, you're not going to
No, people haven't played it yet. And if they want to play it, they don't want to play it spoiled.
So here's the dealio, though. Sleepy Hollow was cool. It's got potential. But, yeah, shows are leaving us. One more non-TV thing. You got a new phone? Guess what? I got a new phone. What? Yeah. I, broke out with the masses and I picked up an iPhone 5.
Oh, an iPhone.
I think the only
Android boy has gone to iPhone.
The only thing anybody cares about is, did you stand in line for it?
No. Never do that.
I asked him, I was like, did you get a gold one?
Never do all that wait in line stuff. I got mine on launch day. I get the higher capacity models though, so they're typically in stock. If you're the 16 gig bottles, those are like the intros that all the teeny boppers buy. Those things run out quickly.
Well, I think that's understandable. You have a child, and you definitely want all the video and pictures that you can get.
So I mean, overall though, I haven't played any games on it yet. I've been meaning to. Oh,
You should get Rymdkapsel. It's a good game.
I've got a scary iPhone game story already. Guess what? Weekend, I'm packing up to go to see my in-laws, and my MacBook gives me some kind of crazy alert. Guess what happened? Someone used my Apple ID to make a purchase of a game.
Ooh, welcome to Apple.
Scared the dickens out of me. Yeah, guess where they were? China.
Oh.
Yeah, so
probably the person who made your phone was probably using it.
So basically, I called Apple. I was on the phone with them for about an hour, and the phone rep, God bless her, she kept repeating, "We take security seriously. We take security seriously." Like she just kept going back to that script. Mm-hmm. So, nothing, no harm, no foul. No money was taken from me. But yeah, welcome back to the iPhone, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy your iPhone. Yeah. I also watched, and you said our shows are leaving. But I said hello to another show. I think it's season 7, episode 1 of Bones aired a couple weeks ago, and I finally got around to watching it, and it was really good. Picked up right off where it left off. Great show if you haven't watched it.
That's one of those dark horse shows that's been around for like a while that people sleep on.
It's 7 years. Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
David Boreanaz, he's man. That dude knows how to keep a job, doesn't he? It was yeah. Buffy. Then
7 years
Angel.
of Buffy,
then he had
5 years of Angel.
And now this. That dude, he's got the executive producer money with this.
Yeah, and Buffy and Angel were overlapping for a couple of years, so kind of technically he had 2 gigs, but they were both by the same guy, same director or whatever. So I mean,
that dude knows how to make money.
Bones is it's a great show, and they've managed to do like the whole Dexter thing where they find new and interesting plot twists for each season. It's not one of those shows where it's, episode by episode. They stand alone. You can watch that out of order. You cannot watch this out of order.
Yes, sir.
So it's pretty gripping. Very good show. Also, The Glades. I haven't really watched the show, so it's kind of a Netflix show I went back to, and it's a good show, too. He's a cocky, arrogant cop from Chicago, now in Florida. So it reminds me of Dexter because it's in Florida. He finds a lot of like bodies and stuff like that in the what do they call it, the Everglades and stuff. So that's another good one. If you're a fan of Dexter, you want to watch something kind of similar, but on the other side of being a killer. He's a cop.
So that brings us to the end of GameFans Podcast number 16. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at podcast@gamefans.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes or follow us on Twitter. I'm at Overlord Roar.
Cosmo Crisis.
And I am at Mr. Hearn. Spell the word Mr. out.
And leave us a review on iTunes too if you get around to it. We could really use some of those.
Hey, Earl, this prints money!